Hello, I'm Violet, and I have a deep passion for staying up to date with the latest trends and indulging in new clothing. However, my enthusiasm for fashion sets me apart from my mother and sister, who have very different interests. I aspire to become a fashion designer once I finish school, but my mom often dismisses it as an unrealistic career choice. She herself works as a university teacher, but appears to despise her job, which only reinforces my determination not to pursue a career I don't truly love. Let me provide you with a bit of background information about my family. My parents separated when I was just 12 years old. Their relationship had always been strained, and it seemed like my dad put in considerable effort to make it work. My mom, however, often appeared frustrated with him, snapping over minor issues and seeming disinterested when he tried to engage in conversation. My dad didn't seem too bothered by it, perhaps out of fear that leaving my mom would limit his time with my sister and me. But eventually, it became too much for him to handle. After a week of hushed arguments and concealed tears, my dad made the difficult decision to move out. They assured us that maintaining our close relationship was their top priority, and they remained committed to that promise. Ironically, life improved in many ways after their separation. We spent half the week with my mom and half with my dad, alternating weekends, which allowed us to spend more quality time with each parent. Strangely enough, it was my dad who seemed to cope better with the change. Even though I had initially thought he had invested more in the relationship, he appeared relieved, more relaxed, and laughed more often. In contrast, my mom became increasingly stressed and frequently snapped at us. About a year after the separation, my dad introduced me to Reagan, his new girlfriend. It caught me off guard, as I hadn't expected my dad to move on so swiftly. While I was genuinely happy for him, I wondered if I would be able to build a positive relationship with his new partner. What if Reagan turned out to be like those stereotypical stepmothers in movies, controlling and trying to push the kids away? What if I never got to see my dad again? These were the worries racing through my mind before I met Reagan. However, as soon as I met her, those fears vanished. She appeared incredibly friendly and kind. During our conversation, I shared my passion for fashion and my desire to try making my own clothes. To my surprise, Reagan confessed that she, too, loved crafting her own garments and proudly showed me a picture of herself wearing a stunning dress she had created. It was truly breathtaking. I mustered the courage to ask if she helped me design a dress for my upcoming graduation party, and she enthusiastically agreed. It was unbelievable how quickly Reagan had entered my life. It felt as though we had known each other forever. My dad was equally thrilled that we were getting along so well. When I returned to my mom's house that night, my little sister had already informed her about Reagan. My mom seemed visibly displeased and exhibited a sour mood when she asked for my thoughts on Dad's new girlfriend. The following weekend, when I went to stay with my dad, he explained that he had to leave for a work-related trip and asked if I'd mind spending the weekend with Reagan. I happily agreed, and Reagan seemed equally excited about the prospect. On Friday night, we watched movies, indulged in chocolate, and she even skillfully braided my hair. The next day, we'd initially set out to buy supplies for my dress, but ended up embarking on an epic shopping spree. Shopping with Reagan was even more enjoyable than with my friends because of her remarkable fashion sense. Sunday was dedicated to crafting my dress, and the weekend flew by due to the sheer enjoyment I experienced. It may sound terrible, but I secretly wished my mom could be a bit more like Reagan. Just imagine how close we could be. However, upon returning to my mom's house on Monday night, she was engrossed in work and barely spoke to me until dinner time. Her behavior was odd, marked by an unusual silence and even blunter responses than usual. It seemed like something was bothering her. Maybe she was feeling depressed. Hoping to find some solace at my dad's house the following weekend, I asked my mom if I could visit, explaining that Regan would assist me with my homework. Unexpectedly, my mom burst into tears, a sight I had never witnessed before. Her outburst caught me off guard, and I felt helpless. She began yelling, telling me it was fine if I wanted to spend time with my dad's new girlfriend instead of her, that I could do whatever I pleased. I could see that it was far from okay, but I thought my mom was acting childishly, and I didn't want to engage in an argument with her in that emotional state, so I simply left the room. The ensuing weekend with Regan was fantastic. We continued crafting my dress, and I eagerly anticipated trying it on. Regan was not only humorous, but also treated me like an adult. Upon returning to my mom's on Monday night, I braced myself for her anger, but she was strangely composed, which made me even more uncomfortable. She didn't inquire about my weekend, but instead suggested we go dress shopping after school on Wednesday. She claimed to have found a beautiful dress that would suit me perfectly. While I knew I should have informed her about making my own dress, I couldn't bring myself to do it. On Wednesday, we went to see the dress, and as expected, it was an unsightly burgundy velvet creation with long sleeves. I would undoubtedly become the laughingstock of my class if I wore it. I expressed my desire for something more airy and shorter, but my mother insisted that such a dress wouldn't be suitable for me. I couldn't stand how she always attempted to control my life. In my frustration, I revealed that I was crafting a dress with Regan. She remained silent for the rest of the evening, but the following day, she declared that I would be staying at her house for the weekend, citing the need to catch up on schoolwork and Regan's supposed illness as reasons. I knew her claims weren't genuine, but I felt powerless to argue with her. As the weekend before my party approached and I began packing for my dad's, my mom informed me that he and Regan would be away for the weekend. I was devastated. What on earth was I going to wear to my party, scheduled for the following Friday night? Tears welled up, and I rushed to my room. I craved solitude and just wanted to be alone, but 5 minutes later, my mom barged into my room, launching into a tirade. She accused me of behaving like a spoiled brat and claimed that I didn't even deserve to attend the party, let alone have a nice dress to wear. Her words stunned me, and I couldn't contain my emotions any longer. I erupted, telling her that I no longer wanted to live with her and that I was tired of her constant depression. I asked why she couldn't just move on and find a life of her own. All of my pent-up feelings poured out uncontrollably. I voiced my resentment that she hadn't given me a choice in deciding where I wanted to live when she and Dad separated. I turned to her and declared that I would rather live with Dad because at least Regan treated me kindly, engaged in conversations with me, and actually wanted to spend time with me. I expressed my frustration at living with a perpetually depressed mom and questioned why she couldn't be as easygoing as Regan. My mom broke down in tears upon hearing my outburst. She approached my bed, attempting to hug me, and profusely apologized. She promised to change and make everything better, acknowledging that she needed to seek help for her depression. She asked for a second chance, explaining that her jealousy of Dad's relationship with Regan had taken a toll on her, causing her to lash out at my sister and me. She was determined to try harder for our sake. She couldn't stop crying, and it was evident that she was ashamed of her jealousy towards Regan. I hoped for things to improve. I couldn't bear the current situation. To make matters worse, I wouldn't be able to attend the party. The following Thursday night, I reluctantly accepted that I wouldn't be joining the festivities the next day. I changed into my pajamas and settled down to watch a movie, overwhelmed by sadness. Everyone else would be at the party, while I would remain at home. Just as I clicked play, there came a gentle knock on my door. My mom entered, carrying a bag. I assumed it was the dreaded burgundy dress, and I was adamant about not wearing it. However, when my mom revealed the dress inside, I was astounded. It was the dress Reagan and I had meticulously crafted. I could hardly believe my eyes. As it turned out, Reagan had indeed fallen ill, and during the subsequent weekend, she and my dad had gone on a surprise mission to enhance my outfit. They had unearthed a stunning tiara that had once graced my grandmother's head at her wedding. Moreover, Reagan had put the finishing touches on my dress as an unexpected surprise. The most astonishing revelation, though, was that my mom had joined in to assist her. They had worked on it together. Overwhelmed with joy, I rushed to hug my mom, my face beaming with gratitude. She embraced me warmly, affirming that she would go to great lengths for my happiness, even if it meant collaborating with Reagan.